hope everyone's having a great day. Today I want to talk about vitamin H. What does that stand for? I want to explain the human body. We should remind ourselves of its brilliance every single day, because otherwise we constantly live in fear. We think we're in control of everything with medicine, with nutrition, with supplements, with all of these things around us. But we should never forget that within our bodies there is an intelligence. That intelligence is keeping us alive right now. And even if we have a disease, that intelligence is trying to figure it out. It's trying to work every single day. Have you ever thought about the marvels of the human body? Every second of the day and night, our body is trying to keep us alive. It's trying to maintain the right pressure. It's trying to maintain heartbeat. We don't have to remind ourselves when to breathe. We don't have to remind our hearts to beat. This is the autonomic nervous system, intelligence and brilliance. But sometimes we forget we have that, and we tend to get a little over smart, and we think that some fancy supplement or some fancy superfood or some fancy meditation technique will take away all our problems. They may be good as a support function in the human body, but never forget the intelligence and brilliance that lies within you. Now, how do we harness that intelligence? How do we harness that brilliance of the human body? It's very simple. We don't have to try hard. Do you think we were born to be health obsessed? Do you think we were born to constantly worry about everything that we eat and the kind of exercise we do? Absolutely not. That's filled in our minds with social media and marketing and everything else. While it is important to be mindful about the kind of nutrition, the quality, the quantity, the time that we eat, how much we eat, while it is important to be mindful about the kind of movement that we create for our body, whether it's flexibility, it's mobility, it's cardiovascular, it's anaerobic, it's aerobic. While it's mindful for us to know it's important to sleep and wake up feeling rested, and of course it's mindful for us to know about the impact of stress on every cell of the human body. What does it take to maintain the brilliance, to harness the brilliance in the human body? It's really very simple. It's allowing the body to give us signals. It's allowing us to listen to these signals and use that as biofeedback to make the right decision. So for example, you ate lunch and you feel tired in 20 minutes. There was something wrong with your lunch, or maybe an ingredient in it. You see, that was feedback. You're not feeling normal. After lunch, we shouldn't have to feel tired. We should be energized. We just nourished ourselves. But if you overate, you ate too many carbs, you ate a food that your body rejects, of course you're going to feel tired. So you see, we're constantly getting biofeedback all the time. Today I want to talk about a simple tool that we all have, the ability to help one another heal. I'm talking about the power of human touch and hugs, appropriate and legal, of course. We have something called somatosensory receptors all over our body. What are these somatosensory receptors? It's how we feel a pleasurable touch. It's how we feel pain. So you prick yourself with a needle right now. It is because of our somatosensors that we can feel pain, or we can feel heat, we can feel cold, we can feel when a touch is inappropriate. It makes us feel weird. We can feel pleasure because of somatosensory receptors that we have in our body. Now, what I'm talking about today is the power of hugging, the power of cuddling, the power of holding someone's hand. You know, when you look at children, you know, sometimes children come to you and they just put their arms around you. They want to hug, they want to cuddle. Okay, it is so important for us, no matter what we're doing at that point, drop it and hug your child or cuddle with them. Just drop what you're doing if you can at that particular point. There's a reason the child's coming. You see, it's way beyond just science. When there is a hug, when there is this close touch or a cuddle, or you put a reassuring hand on your child or your husband or your wife or your lover or whoever it is, your friend, the appropriate way with the right intention, of course, what happens? There is a massive change in your chemistry, biology, and physiology in the human body. Again, this is not what I'm saying. This is how the human body works. Oxytocin, endorphins, oxytocin, bonds. Okay, it's the love hormone. It's the cuddle hormone. There is so much magic in that. Okay, you're in love with someone. You get into bed at night. You sleep without touching each other, compared to the nights that you sleep where you cuddle and fall asleep. You already know which nights are going to be better. Why? It has nothing to do with the other person. I mean, the other person is real. It's everything to do with oxytocin. Some people can only cuddle and sleep. You'll notice this with your babies and children. They need to be cuddled and they fall asleep. So a mom or a dad will rock a baby to sleep in their arms. It's because it's oxytocin that gives them that feeling of safety. All of us, every human being, whether we're a child or we're an adult, we need a feeling of safety deep within to be in homeostasis. When we don't feel safe, we can have billions of dollars, we can have servants, we can have guards around us, we can have everything. But if we don't feel safe inside, there is disharmony. We're not in homeostasis. We're in the sympathetic nervous system. We're constantly feeling threatened. When you feel threatened, your blood vessels constrict. Blood can't flow the right way. That's why your pressure rises. Everything gets disrupted in disharmony in the human body, and that can stem from one emotion of not feeling safe. So why do children want to cuddle before they sleep? It's not just because it's comfortable. It is comfortable, but they get a sense and a signal of, I'm safe in my parents' arms. And they fall asleep with oxytocin and with endorphins. Now, sometimes when you're holding the hand of a patient who's in pain, or a family member who's in pain, that touch creates oxytocin and it also creates endorphins. Endorphins can be a natural painkiller. Don't get me wrong. It cannot replace a lot of powerful painkillers in the industry where you will need it sometimes if the pain is terrible. But that doesn't mean we can't make the use of touch, a hug, a cuddle, holding a patient's hand. When you took your child for their vaccination first, I'm not talking about the COVID vaccination, I'm talking about when they were children. You would hold their hand while they get the vaccination. Why? Not only safety, not only is it reassuring, but that touch creates oxytocin and endorphins, which are also natural painkillers. And we cannot dismiss the power in these little things. You would think, oh, what can endorphins do? My pain is too much. It can do a lot. Because all your pain, your feelings, your emotions, how you feel right now is based on your neurotransmitters, and it is based on hormones, which are chemical messengers communicating pain or feeling good. So the power of touch, the power of hugging, it goes deeper. Violence. When they did this whole research study of people in prison who had created violent crimes, or teenagers who are violent, or children who are violent, or adults who are violent, there is a clear correlation of these children not receiving love when they were small, not being cuddled, not being held. And there could be different reasons for different families and stuff like that. And that's why when you look at children who don't have parents, whenever you visit an orphanage, you will learn from the people who look after these children. Orphans look after orphans. They learn, the human spirit learns to turn to the left and right and see where can I get human safety, reassurance. It is so important for us to understand this. Today we think we want to be independent, we want to be alone, these are all egoistical thinkings. It's fine, that's your choice. But do understand, there is a reason for physical touch. There is a reason for cuddling. There is a reason for hugging. And it starts from the time you're a child. And maybe you didn't get it as a child, and now maybe you're in a relationship, and maybe you want to start making more use of this relationship. You know, hugs, touch, cuddles, all of these things. It is so important for these things to stimulate your somatosensory responses, which in turn changes the physiology, biology, and chemistry of your body. So sometimes when your child is angry, you try to hold and cuddle the child, and the child will push you away, and you'll say, okay, fine, you're in a bad mood and you want to cuddle the child, but all the more cuddle the child, and you'll see that child melt in your arms after a while, because you don't have to respond or react to their emotion. They need that love at that point. They need that cuddle. They need that at that particular point, because you're going to generate oxytocin, endorphins in them, which is literally a beautiful cocktail that is designed for us to feel better. And there are some people who are genuinely lonely. They don't have anyone in life, and they get a pet. The pet can give you the same hormones, the same neurotransmitters. So when you're cuddling your cat, when you're cuddling your dog, you have an animal, you have a pet you love, you can create those same feelings, and that's why you love to be around your pets. It is so important for us to understand, while we live in a world of complication, what's the next medicine, what's the next nutraceutical, what's the next supplement, what's the next breakthrough in quantum physics or in meditation. That's all great. But don't forget about the powers that we have. So if you are blessed to have your parents, if you are blessed to have siblings, if you're blessed to have a lover, if you're blessed to have a close friend that you feel safe with, or a partner, or whoever it is, a child, make use of physical touch, which is appropriate and legal. Make use of that for yourself and for the other person. These are such powerful healing medicines. It's called energy medicine. It is so powerful, but yet we don't use it. Sometimes there are no words to be said to someone who's dying. Sometimes there's no words to be said to someone who's sick and suffering in bed. All you need to do is hold their hand. Just hold their hand. Hold their hand. That creates so much of energy. So everything doesn't have to be words. We don't have to come up with words just because we want to feel important or sound important. Sometimes just through the power of touch, you can communicate so much of beauty and so much of healing. And that's why if you have children, please understand, the more you hug them, the more you love them through hugs and touch. Your love is not giving them gifts all the time. Your love is not pampering them with chocolates and sweets and iPads and all of that stuff. That isn't love. That's dopamine. Of course the kid's going to love that because it's dopamine. But the true bonding that happens will happen with oxytocin and endorphins. And for that, it is cuddling. It is holding your child. And that's why one of the biggest things I'm against is certain cultures preaching to parents when to stop co-sleeping with a child. You know, there are some children who will automatically move to a new bedroom, maybe in a year. Some children will sleep with their parents for 2 years or 4 years or 5 years. Every child is different. Maybe they were born with a little bit of fear, or they're exposed to environments of fear. That fear can be broken when they sleep with their parents. And a lot of people will put this idea in your head that, but what about the parents? What about their love making? It's simple. Do it on the floor. Do it on the kitchen table. Find a way to do it. But let your child sleep with you. Let your child sleep with you. And you don't have to put yourself into a box about what parenting experts are saying after 1 year, after 2 years. How can you put your child in a box when every child is different? So let your children sleep with you. You can coach them, notice their nature, make the changes at the right time, and gradually move them out of your bedroom at the right time. But you will build a better bond, and you will build better strength and resilience in that child when you give them what they need. They're children after all. We don't get to decide that, oh, at 5 my child should start acting like an adult, or by 9. That's what society's putting in your head all the time. You don't have to listen to cultures that tell you. You need to listen to your mother instinct, to your father instinct. Yeah, I recognize this child is a little bit, fearful and anxious, and the fact that they want to sleep with me, if they get strength from it, why not? Why not? That is the job of a parent, to nurture. Every child will not be strong. Some will be weak, some will be strong. And that's why we nurture them. It's the same thing that happens in the animal kingdom. We think we're superior to the animal kingdom. We're not. We can learn so much from the animal kingdom. But the whole point is, embrace the power of touch. Embrace the power of hugs. And sometimes you're in a life where you don't have these particular people in your life for whatever reasons. Volunteer. Go to orphanages, go to homes where there are elderly people who are abandoned. You may not have anything to say, but I can promise you, just holding their hand and being with them or giving them a beautiful long hug will heal you in such a beautiful way. Not just them, it will fulfill you. And you will want to do it more and more. Just remember the 2 words, appropriate and legal, please. Okay, because a lot of people today, most of the sexual molestations happen in families, amongst family members. So unfortunately, you want to be mindful of all of these things, and you want to teach your children boundaries, or even as an adult, you want to learn these boundaries, but the point is, if you have this in your life, make use of it. Hug, cuddle, all of these things. And simple. You don't need science to tell you this. How do you feel after you do it? There's the science working in you right there. Everything in life doesn't have to have science, because science can't explain everything in life, right? So you can be the person who chooses to wait, or you can be the person with common sense and, oh, I hugged my child today. I feel so good. You don't need no science. You need common sense to realize that, hey, I like that feeling. Now let me do it more and more and more. So whatever it is, you may feel you're loneliest in your relationship right now. It's okay. Let the ego come down. Go and hug your partner. Don't say anything, even if you don't want to say anything. That hug can change you. It's the ego and pride that is keeping the distance in most cases. In most cases. Sometimes, we got to lower that ego and pride to find the beauty that exists on the other side of ego and pride. So with your children, never ever refuse a hug, no matter how angry you are. Do not punish people by taking away love. Punish people by behavioral changes. by using communication, by making decisions. Never punish your child by taking away love, by taking away touch. I can guarantee you one thing, and one thing that I really found that I teach other parents, when they come to me with problems, because I teach through example. Like, I will discipline my daughter, I will discipline her, but I will always remind her that you're being punished, you're being whatever, but just remember, I love you. This has nothing to do with love. This has everything to do with your behavior. You got to remind your children and remind people, hey, I love you. Remind them, but this is not okay. You're breaking boundaries, but I love you. Never take away that stability. It's very easy to manipulate in relationships. It's very easy to manipulate and say, I'm going to take away love, because every soul craves love, and everyone will then act out of fear. They'll start to impress you, hide from you, never be honest with you. So use the power of touch, use the power of cuddles, the power of hugs. It's one of the most beautiful, powerful medicines. And it's because you have somatosensory receptors. It's all within us. So much can be created within us, but we're constantly looking out for everything. Of course, there's a lot we can get from the outside, but most of it will be found within. Have a great day, everyone. Until next time, eat smart, move more, sleep right, breathe deep, and remember, you care is all about you.